Band competitions have always been a big part of Memorial Junior High School. Competitions not to win, but competitions to provide access to learning, experience, confidence building, treasured memories. The contests were always viewed as a vehicle to help the students in band better learn those age-old values such as hard work and dedication, sacrifice and pride. It has always been the goal of Mr. Allen to find the best compositions to showcase the band's strengths. The next composition has been one of his very best selections. They Led My Lord Away. Arranged by Fred Allen, this piece will be conducted today by Mr. Bobby Lambert, the Assistant Director of Bands at Marion Catholic High School. Bobby? Thank you, Bobby Lambert. Again, thanks to the fine reception and help from Marion Catholic High School. Mr. Joe Allie was the band director who saw something in Mr. Allie, who, along with Bill Simpson, superintendent of schools in District 158, in 1977 hired Mr. Allie to be the choir director. And the assistant band director. Mr. Allie served this position for 1 year. The next composition has been used on many occasions throughout the years as a concert closer. After all, what better way to finish a concert than with the Sousa March? This particular march features the piccolo players, the brass players, and whenever the memorial band performed this composition, the entire brass section would stand for even a bigger gentle effect. This bit of pageantry, combined with the patriotism of the march, always brought the audience to their feet. Joe Allie, welcome back. Friend, teacher, musician, and now the conductor of today's rendition of the Stars and Stripes. there will never, ever be another moment like this one. This is a very special day, a very special time. And if I may, I will simply interject here. At no time ever in the past, nor will it ever occur in the future, that all of us will be assembled together in the same room at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, students and friends, this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. This will never, ever, ever happen again. And we are all here because of one reason: music. That music was made possible by Mr. Allie. I'm going to come over there. I'm going to present to you Ms. Gail Herbach, 1987 graduate. That's in this last century. I've got to keep track of you. Gail called me several months ago and she says, I need to talk to you. Mr. Allie isn't going to be with us much longer. She made a lot of phone calls, contacted a lot of people. Thank you, Gail.
Well, just before we go on, I'd like to acknowledge publicly, I could never have done this without Kristen Engelberg. A dream in my head from a movie, but without her, this wouldn't be possible. For the past year or so, it's been my great privilege to work on bringing to life what was once just a crazy idea I got in my head upon watching the movie. When I first watched the movie Mr. Holland's Opus and saw the ending scene where a group of the title characters' former students come together to play a concert in his honor, I remember distinctly thinking to myself, that would be cool to do someday. Never did I imagine when I saw that movie this. Dave, when you first told me you were retiring 2 years ago, I went home and I sent out eight Facebook messages. Sent them out to my let me rephrase that, sent them out to my band friends. I just wanted to see if anyone else liked the idea of an alumni concert, see if they still played, and if not, if they were still willing to try to play. Those Facebook messages have turned into a Facebook page that now has over 217 members. Some of those 200 members have traveled quite a distance to play with us tonight. It seemed as though everyone I spoke to had a story, a memory, something that made them want to come back, and even if it was just for one night, they wanted to perform as Mr. Allie's students one last time. Which would lead someone who's not experienced in our band program to ask, why? Why were so many people eager to dig instruments out of storage and closets and force their children, pets, and spouse to listen to practice pieces of music that some hadn't played in a decade or more? Why? Even Dave humbly expressed his curiosity one day when he said to me as I was in his office, yeah, I really appreciate all that you guys are doing to put this together, but I don't understand why you would do this for me. Dave, I know from many, many people that I've had the pleasure to talk to that the answers all have a common thread. This is our way of saying thank you. Thank you for bringing so much pride to Lansing, for instilling in every student who walked through the band doors a sense of pride and accomplishment, not something easily found when you're in middle school. Thank you for being so much more than a band director, a mentor, a friend, a cheerleader, a role model, and a colleague. Most of all, thank you for continuing to be all of these things long after we left Memorial to follow our own paths in life. As a teacher, you instilled in us at such a, as a teacher, the values you instilled in us at qualities that most people admire in adults: hard work, determination, punctuality, and professionalism. Students who may have struggled with self-esteem issues could not help but beam with pride after performing in any of your contest venues. For me, the highlight of these self-esteem boosts was the award ceremony in Virginia Beach, Virginia in 1987 after performing in Memorial's first national competition. I know you remember this, as the Master of Ceremonies began to announce the winners in each category, and our bands and choir continued to take grand champion in every category. I remember the MC's voice becoming increasingly more intense. And he would start to say things like, "I can't believe it," or "This is amazing, Memorial Junior High School." And he was more and more surprised as we were more and more surprised. When I look back at the moment that I helped the other band officers carry those trophies back to our group of screaming musicians, well, let's just say you helped a little girl feel like a hero that day. And you will always be a hero to many of us. And with that, it is my incredible honor to invite you to take your baton and conduct your alumni band in the performance of one of my favorite songs from Virginia Beach, Fall River Overture.
have a list of all the people who haven't spoken today or conducted today. Wow. 1987, there are some graduates here from that year, and also the coordinator of private teaching at that time. I'd like just to acknowledge and introduce to you Mr. Jim Lamantia. Jim Lamantia. And also from the ages of 1987, graduate, friend, traveler, Tim Reardon.
Hi, everybody. I'm very humbled to be here today and to be able to be part of this. Standing before you is one of the most, if not the most influential man in my life, Mr. Dave Allie, and another one, Jim Amantia, who was just introduced right there. Both of whom I've had a lifetime association with. I met both of them when I was 8 years old. That's when I started in band. My grandpa gave me a trombone, and I started playing it before I even came to the band program, and I learned everything wrong. And these two men told me so. And both tried to teach me and undo a lot of the things that I had learned improperly. Right now, I'm the artistic director of the American School of Music in Chicago. We have 7,000 music students. We have over 100 teachers and band directors. And as part of that job, I get to go around and do some speaking to young teachers. And about 3 times every year, I get the opportunity to go to Vanderbilt, to their master's program, which teaches young teachers and older teachers alike who are trying to expand their education, helps them during the summers and during the school year. And I sometimes get to go and address 70 lecture halls, 70 working band directors. And I teach them about brass and things like that. But at the end, I always reserve some time to talk about the impact that these two men, especially Dave Allie here on a special night, have had on my life and what I try every single day to pass on. Dave Allie told me something very important. We've all heard it before. Whenever he gets a compliment, he says the same thing. Every time. You know what it is? He says the same thing. I'm just a steward of the program. I'm just a steward of what Mr. Maeli gave him. And you've said that to me for over 30 years, man. And I gotta tell you, tonight I want you to just look around and understand that you are so much more than a steward to the people who love you here. You are not just a steward. You have taken this program and these children and these adults and helped them in ways that you will never fully comprehend. Truly, you will not. And this is just a tiny little bit of the people and the lives that you've touched who are with you here today. And I just want to, on behalf of everyone here, to Mr. Amantia as well, and all the private teachers who've made this program successful, say we love you, and we respect you, and thank you.
District Contest 1997, the Lansing Memorial Band played. The director in the audience came up to me after the performance and said, "Man, I would give my life to have a band like that." And I said, "Mr. Allie did." Let's have one more introduction. Mr. Stuckey, are you still here? Are you still awake? You know, it takes me an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. Could have seen it 6 times today. And then after Mr. Allie retired from the choir job, we welcome Mr. Stupid. Robert, I got a microphone here. I have to tell you that the nursing home let me off tonight out on good behavior if I promise not to complain about the food anymore. Many of you who have been on our trips know that if we're not going to eat, there's no reason to eat. Okay. And that was the main thing that I was always put on these trips for, was make sure we got good restaurants picked out. And I thought we ate pretty well. I really did. I come to you as a retired teacher, having retired a few years ago, and I told Dave then, I said, it's time for you to leave too. The door's open, I'll wait for you. But he had to finish a few more years here. I began working at that time at what I hoped would be my last poem for retiring teachers. Most of them have all retired now. But it's amazing how many times you find that the influence of this school district is far and wide more than you ever would admit. Just this morning, my therapist looked down at my shirt. I was wearing a 2005 on tour shirt. And she said to me, do you know anybody from Memorial Junior High? I said, well, sure, I've been there. I was there 35 years. I know somebody. And she went on to tell me that she remembers as a student there, she remembers when Mr. Sandow came, when Mr. Brink came. And so we spent most of my therapy time this morning reminiscing. And I told her when it was done, I said, just put down in your book that I did all of those ups and downs and everything. This was much more therapeutic. But when Dave told me that he was retiring, I started this poem then. And as a department head, that I figured that would be the last one I'd have to write. And so I hope it is, in a sense. Please bear with me as an English teacher. It's got some English jokes in it. But those of you who've known me over the years, you know a student joke is priceless. They're getting sold in that compliment. But these students, didn't they sound fine tonight? And it does warm your heart. I sat there almost in tears the whole time, because I remember these songs. Oh, I remember these songs. Dave would come home 2 and 3 years in advance and say, we're going to play this song, River this, or da 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 da. And then I'd sit and listen to it with them again, and again, and again. Way before the kids even saw the music. I already knew what that song sounded like. I still remember going on a trip, Dave and I were planning it, and I came home from the trip planning session, and I said to Jim Lamantia, I said, well, we've listened to the song now 433 times, on the tape deck. And Jim said, you didn't let him listen to it all that time, did you? Oh, he'll never put it away. And he didn't. And Michael Blue, I have to tell you, it was about 5 or 6 years into the entire run of your song, Proud Americans, that I realized it was the same song. And so I didn't have to write a new flag routine for the Marching Flag Corps, because it was the same song. Just pull it out and teach it against different kids, different competition. But we listened to those same songs over and over again throughout the years. Let me get this thing started. Ode to David Allen. Your attention now, please. May I have your attention? We've met here today, and the reason I'll mention. David
Valley's retiring, and so we have gathered, showered and shaved, and right guarded and lathered, put on the dog and planned a nice dinner, 'cause Dave's been a trooper and a surefire winner. No need to be fancy or contrite or quaint. I am now retired, so a sonnet this ain't. So sorry, Dave, I haven't written much lately, but then again, neither has Shakespeare, so hate me. As school districts go, ours is lucky indeed, because we've had dear David. Hope he's been here. Hope he's left us to see. That's one thing, when you get old, you start to lose the eyesight. For a great many years because we've had dear David, and I hope he's left us to see. For a great many years of success up ahead, for vision and dreams long after we're dead. After this many years, he's finally leaving, and we hope he's planned on his honors receiving. Many are forthcoming, because many are due. We've had some planned, at least one or two. After his many years, nearly 40 or so, he's hanging it up, and he's planning to go. Retirement fits well, the truth to be told. He's finally admitted that he's getting that old. So now, how shall we celebrate, and how shall we party, to remember this gentleman, so hale and so hearty? Help me remember and aptly recall highlights of years past, from springtime through fall. Now summers would find us with sweat running down, as we then would practice to march through our town. Shall we schedule a parade as he led us through those years, in suffering heat or with freezing cold ears? Touring the grade schools to drum up new drummers, filling the ranks with the next up-and-comers. Next, on to the Halloween march and parade, practice in marches that provided us aid. Then we came inside, it was getting cold. IMEA helped us polish our gold. Then to the big Christmas concert and show, just to let all see how this year might go. Working on solos and our ensembles for sure, just to showcase all of our strength. Now that's pure. Remember these points from the past year, from past near and far. They serve us by telling us just where we are. Because when you have been here as long as Dave's been, your mind might go soft and as sharp as a pin. And who could forget contests, district and state? We kept going, doing well, which caused us to hate getting up Saturdays and donning our suits. But after we triumphed then, we let out our boots. We went on to win every prize that was offered, and garner each trophy that each contest proffered. After our victories and contests each year, we would look forward to hopefully hear rest is forthcoming band members, but no, on with the springtime, it's a time for a show. Where could we journey this year to show our stuff? Would traveling 2 states away be enough? So journey we did. We followed Dave, followed Bob, packed up the buses. We all had a job. Clean up the hotels, count out those tour shirts. Those were fun, weren't they? Locate each child that they packed where they hurt. And lo and behold, we traveled each year. We journeyed afar or sometimes real near, till everyone there would finally say how great was our program that they heard on that day. On to our spring concert, wrap up the season. The Good Neighbor Parade had given us the reason to march one more time in the streets of our town, to help wind us up and then finally wind down, to share with our neighbors a big friendly smile, to thank them for giving us support all the while. For who could forget Christmas wreaths, candy bars, or those gifts that we would send to our kinfolk so far? Well, the years are near over, so how have I done? Can you recall them all, Dave? And weren't they all fun? And I'm not going to admit to any kind of chariots. Right, Suzanne? Get away from her. Now you take retirement slower, my friend. A long road will wind gently unto the end. And may the great conductor now program your ways with plenty of fermatas and rest for your days. Recall us when you can in Lansing's great. We'll miss you when thinking of 158. So this ode concludes, and I'm done, that's rare. Join me now to honor Dave, bandman extraordinaire. Please stand.
Mr. Stuckey was the director of the choir for many years at Memorial. He wrote a song, the band and the choir would sing and say thank you to any venue that the band and choir would stop along a trip. They would sing and perform this mostly at hotels and restaurants that they would frequent. Mr. Booth took Mr. Stuckey's song and made a wonderful arrangement for the instrumental band and the choir. Words to the song are in your program. Audience participation. For those of you who read music, we're sorry. If you've ever heard Happy Birthday in a restaurant, forget it. They didn't sing it quite this way. Join the students, join Mr. Stuckey, join Mr. Boo, join Mr. Allie as we say thank you. Now, Miss Language is going to cue you at an appropriate time to come in for the word part. You do not sing where it says chime. And that does not mean, as Mr. Lamantia thought, chime in. Mr. Alley. Yes, sir. No, I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I could not have done all of this without all of you. And there's a young man sitting here who helped me for 15, maybe 20 years. Please stand, Jim. When I was here, and I felt like I didn't want to go home because I wanted to give up, he would kick me into you-know-where. Yes, that's one truth. He would kick me and tell me, no, you have to keep going, man. The kids need you. You have to keep working harder, making them better. And the kids, thank you. For all the good work. Yes. You want this?
I was afraid I wouldn't get it back. together this afternoon has come to an end. I think that all would agree that it's been a great experience rehearsing, performing, listening, writing, composing, telling stories.
Dave, I regret to tell you that during this concert, I got word that there's been a mistake on the state level and you have to stay out.
Why am I not surprised that the state would make a mistake? Mr. Allie, as you well know, a school band director does so much more than share music. Music is the smallest infinitesimal part of what you do. The band director serves as a mentor for students and for all of us. You've taught me a great deal, as you have so many others. The band director serves as a liaison between the school and the community. The band director serves as a role model. A band director is every bit as much of a coach as are the PE teachers and sports coaches, because a performing group such as the band is truly a team. And this team assembled here, you are champions. The comment was made, wow, they sound so good. Why wouldn't they? They all have the same teacher. Everyone in the audience today would agree that your 36 years as a band director in School District 158 has given service, above all, to this community. The Village of Lansing thanks you, and we wish you nothing but the best, today, tomorrow, and always. We love you, we're proud of you, we're glad that you could be here with us today. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Good night, everybody, and thank